Hi, welcome back to Teacher 101 PD 5. This concerns the observations that you will undergo during the course of the academic year on your professional practice. Many schools use different models. Some schools have their own model. Some schools use Danielson. Some schools use Marzano. I'm going to use Danielson as the example for this PD because everything is so readily available on the internet for you to reference. The first thing that you need to do is when you meet with your supervisor, and please excuse the glare in my glasses, you need to find out exactly what the framework is. And hopefully they will give you something that looks like this. If not, they're going to provide you with a digital resource. This you will, of course, photocopy and put in your data binder and resources because you're going to have to reference this all year long. Now, upon reading this, you should have observations that take into account your planning and preparation, classroom environment, professional responsibilities, and that's sometimes called principal teaching and actual instruction. Your observer will let you know what they're looking for. One will probably be announced and two unannounced, or maybe you'll just have two. It is very important when you prepare for this that you look at the rubric. So you ask for the rubric. Now, this is a sample rubric for Component 4A, Reflecting on Teaching from Domain 4 of Danielson, Professional Responsibilities, sometimes called Principal Teaching. And there happen to be within this, components are A through F. Okay? So you have this little document. You print out every page. It's right here, right here. See? Okay. So I have a page for the rubric for each of the components. Now, you're going to see from this is just one example, all right, of the 4 that you may be graded on. All right. Now, you can be highly effective, effective, partially effective, or ineffective. I hope you can see this clearly. And that runs, as an example, through all components of all of the different areas of the framework, right? This is step 1. Read that. And then step 2. When you're looking at this is what I want you to do. Ready? I want you to take a piece of paper, and I want you to only concern yourself with this column because this is what you need to strive for. You need to strive for highly effective. Bottom line, you want to be highly effective. And then in the end, after we all try, we're going to wind up somewhere between effective and highly effective. And just as long as you know what the components are, the components and the elements and what is actually going to be critiqued, you are going to be flying through the school year because you're going to know what's expected of you. So now, oftentimes, there's a part here that calls upon for student choice and student input, student creation. This has to do all with instructional materials, choice of projects, maybe peer-to-peer editing. I don't like peer grading. Editing is different because usually you have stuff on the word walls. But here's one. Ready? Let's look at component 4, communication with families. Highly effective. Teacher provides frequent information to families as appropriate about the instructional program. That would be your monthly newsletter. Students participate in preparing materials for their families. They help you create the newsletter. This is a great project. This is wonderful. Do it one day a month. And kids like that. Okay? Teacher provides information to families frequently on student progress, with students contributing to the design of the system. Now that's difficult because the grading system is designed by the school. So what I suggest for this is that in your classroom, you have students develop a rubric. Wonderful. They design them. They use whatever online program you're using for, like, to use Google Suite, to use Max, whatever you're using, because then you're going to be using different things like Pages to create maybe a form, or you're going to do something with Sheets, Excel. You have to choose, but then the kids will become better skilled at using these programs. And I suggest you start this, like, I'm talking about kids in 3rd grade, 3rd to 12th grade. Yes, this might be what you're being scored on for high school too. All right, so take into consideration the grades that you're teaching, because the energy, the direction, the focus is so different for preschool, for kindergarten, in grades 1 through 2. Grade 3 becomes more specific, so what we're talking about would be geared differently, but I'm talking about grades. So 1 and 2, kindergarten, preschool, that's a whole different ball game. So what we're talking about here, grade 3 through 12, right? So you get a feel for it, right? So you go to your rubric and you are interested in those 2 columns only. Don't even look at the other 2, all right? So this is your goal, and this is going to help you reach that goal. But always remember, involve the students, have evidence, and that's why I love Google Forms. They can create on them, you have a record, they go into little online files, folders. Okay, Google Forms are great for everything from test prep to suggestions for the classroom, which is great, especially for this. We're going to talk more about Google Forms as a means of test prep later on. So you have your framework, you have your components that you're going to be graded by, right, on the elements. And then it's very important that you also obtain something. Now, I have this. I'm going to try to find it and put it as a link. I obtained this way back around 2014. It's from the Educator Effectiveness Pilot Network. It's dated April of 2014. Possible artifacts for Danielson domains 1 and 4. Great resource. I've held on to it. Looks like this. Okay. I'm close. I would suggest that this is great for any type of evaluation. And that's that. It's actually 2 pages, and that was page 1, this is page 2. Let's see. I'll try to post a link. I have to get better at YouTube. I'm trying though, all right? I'm really trying. I think that I'm getting better at it. Then the next thing that you have to do is you have to draft a paper, whatever type of, you can put it in a notebook, you can devise a slide presentation. You need to come up with something where everything you do can be linked. And I have something called the Danielson Domain for Principal Teaching. There you go. If I can see this. Okay. Right. So it's 4 printed pages that I start in September, and I take each of the listed elements of domain 4, and I make a typed document where I put links to everything that I've created. Right? I keep links to my written reflections, which I always put at the bottom of my lesson plan. So when you come to this point where you're working with your supervisor, please sit with them, ask them for all the information readily available to you so that you will be successful upon your observation. Your supervisors, your principals, they want you to be engaged because they want you to be the best possible teacher that they have with our precious students in your classroom. So I hope this proved effective for you and that you can grow from the knowledge. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment, and it's been wonderful to work with you. See you again soon for PD6.